my name is Chad Hart. I'm an agricultural economist for Iowa State University. What I've been asked to talk about today is the outlook for ethanol, corn, and beef that we're getting from a group I work with, the Food and Agricultural Policy Research Institute. And what that institute is it was set up to project what agriculture is going to look like over the next 10 years, both for the U.S. and worldwide. We have a number of analysts that use a variety of models to look at how agriculture is going to change over the next decade and what the interactions are between the different segments within agriculture. We do a scenario or baseline outlook looking out over 10 years, basically once a year, and we've done an update of our analysis as of this August. And what I want to show today is sort of how our update has changed our outlook on what we see happening in the world of agriculture due to the growth of biofuels. This first graph shows our projected ethanol production. I'm going to key off the August 07 numbers throughout the talk here. But what you can see is we have fairly rapid growth in ethanol production as we look out over the next 3 years, building up to roughly 14 billion gallons by 2010. And it's at about that point that our projections sort of plateau out for ethanol production. As we look longer term beyond 2012, our models are indicating between 14 and 14.5 billion gallons of ethanol production in the United States. The main feedstock going into that, of course, is corn. We've definitely seen a dramatic increase in the amount of corn acres devoted in this country, rising from 78 million acres in 2006 up to over 93 million acres in 2007. Originally, our models were looking at corn acreage leveling out at about 90 million acres given the way ethanol was growing. With our update here, we're looking at a downtrend, at least in 08, given stronger prices for competing crops, especially soybeans and wheat. But we see corn acreage rebounding in 09 back to over 93 million acres and maintaining in that 93 to 95 million acre area when we look out 2010 to 2012. In terms of pricing, we definitely are looking at a different pricing path than even that we were looking at earlier this year. You can see here that in 06 and 07 we were showing season average prices in the range of $3 to $3.10. For 08 we're projecting a fairly strong corn price, looking up there around $3.38 a bushel. But beyond that, given the slowdown we are projecting in ethanol production and the buildup we have going in corn production, we have corn prices starting to ratchet down starting in 08 through 09. And by the time we get out to 2012, we're looking at corn prices, a season average for the year, about $3.25 a bushel. Looking at how corn is used in this country, 2006 was a landmark year, especially for the ethanol industry, as it became the #2 usage of U.S. corn, exceeding exports. So we were now utilizing more corn as a fuel source in this country than we were shipping corn out to the rest of the world. And that is a great big issue because the U.S. corn represents roughly 2/3 of all world corn trade. So we do supply the rest of the world its excess corn. What you see here in our projections is with the buildup in the ethanol industry, we have corn usage for ethanol building up nearly to levels that we have for livestock feed, the #1 usage, getting up there to about 5 billion bushels when we look at 2010 and beyond. Where is it pulling that corn? Well, it's from a variety of sources. We have more corn coming in through supply response on our corn production, but we also show some downtrend, especially 07, 08, for livestock feed and for exports. As it plateaus off, the idea is that we have livestock feed building back up in our outer years and exports beyond 2009 beginning to build back up to 06, 07 levels. With this oncoming wave of ethanol production, we also see distillers grains more than doubling in production over the next 3 years, building from 15 million tons in 2006 up to beyond 35 million tons once we get beyond 2009. So we're talking about a tremendous amount of distillers grains coming on the market, and with that added production, we definitely see some downward price pressure for distillers grains, falling from levels in 2006 of over $105 to $107 a ton down to roughly $90 a ton projected for 2009. Beyond 2009, though, we do have additional growth feeding the distillers grains into the livestock species, and so we do see some price growth there when we look out beyond 2009. But the short-term forecast, we're looking at lower prices for distillers grains given the vast quantities coming online. Relating this back directly to the beef industry here, these are our projections for cattle and calf numbers as of January 1 of each year. And what you can see is that here we've had a fairly dramatic update from our March baseline to what we see in August. And the idea is what we are seeing sort of the cattle cycle, if you will, pushed back a couple of years within our models here. The buildup we had originally projected that would plateau out around 2009, 2010 now is looking more like 2012, 2013. Over this time period from 08 to 2012, we're looking at cattle and calf numbers building up from 97 million head up to just short of 99 million head by 2012. In terms of production, definitely the slowdown that we see in cattle and calf numbers translates back into what we're seeing for beef production. So we are showing actually a decline from 2006 into 2007, 2008, very slight, but then beyond 2008, we do see beef production picking back up and reaching over 28 billion pounds by the time we reach 2012. Looking at it on the price side, part of why we see this is that our models are right now giving fairly strong price signals, if you will, price projections for cattle looking out. And here I've got represented the Nebraska direct steers price going out, and what you see here is that in comparison to what we were projecting earlier this spring, we're looking at prices ranging above $90 per hundredweight through 07 back basically to 2010, and then falling below that $90 level when we get out there 2011, 2012. And finally, to look at the bottom line, in our models we project cow-calf net returns. Coming back to the industry, and here I'll key off the March numbers just to say that, in our models we were showing the higher feed cost hitting those net returns, driving them from a positive $75 per cow in 2006 down to a low point in 2010 of a loss of $50 a head in our earlier projections. Now we have still strong corn prices, so we have high feed costs, but at the same time we're showing higher cattle prices being out there, and those cattle prices are helping offset what we're seeing in the corn market. So we're showing net returns stabilizing a bit more in the near term. They fall in 2007 given the corn run up, but in 2008 we show them slightly above $50 a head there, and then the decline starts, and so we don't see negative numbers basically until we're looking at 2011 and 2012. And with that, I thank you for the time.